And for those guys that don't know, wow, we have been very, very excited out here in Miami for this recent partnership with a brand new company. We are no longer affiliated with the company of Economy. And so these calls over the next little while are just going to be for the Revolt fam. All right, before I'm educating on the new platform with GFU Live, this is just going to be for the Revolt community. And if you're seeing this and you're like, wait a minute, we're no longer partnered with EA and Economy, what's going on? Don't worry. If you haven't been kept in the loop, a lot of us are, still very new to this whole announcement that we made on Monday. So I would just say to take the moment to reach out to whoever you've been working with, whoever your sponsor was, whoever introduced you to Revolt, and definitely be sure to check out the recording from this Monday's team call. All right, that way you can get caught up to speed and you're in a position where you can get everything set up on the new platform and you're able to continue moving forward with us in unison. And just out of curiosity, for those of you guys that are on here, how many of you have already made the transition? You're starting to explore the new scanners, you're starting to explore the new platform, and you're really liking what you see. Because I'm gonna just say this, okay? We are in the very early stages of a transition here to a new company that is still using a platform which is decent, but I'll be honest, the platform is about to get 10 times better over the next week or two. Uh, Not just because I'm going to be on board on the platform. Okay, that's not what I mean. It's actually getting a whole revamp. They actually showed us here at the Airbnb. We had the opportunity because we had a big group of us here in Miami, right? Group of 25 of us. I think that's another reason why there's so few of us actually on the call this morning is because everybody's like watching as a group, inside the Airbnb. And I'm sure, maybe some of you guys are watching in a group somewhere as well outside of Miami. But we're just really excited. Generally speaking, we're very, very excited and looking forward to seeing what the markets kind of what opportunities are in the markets this morning as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into things. We'll be talking a little bit more about some of the scanners on today's session. And obviously, I have some updates and things that I want to look at as potential opportunities for the session. We'll probably be on here for about 40 minutes or so. Okay. I actually have a new standard with live sessions, and I need to start to basically follow as frameworks. And one of those standards is that sessions need to be between 45 and 50 minutes. That's like the sweet spot. And so it's I'll be honest, and you guys know me, usually we'd be going in for like 2 hours. I gotta I gotta focus, I gotta be dialed, and less is more, right? So, and the reason for that is just because that's like the sweet spot when it comes to education, when it comes to people getting the value. That first 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes kind of thing is the sweet spot. So, anyways, with that being said, we talked about the zone on Bitcoin. I want to start with Bitcoin because I think this is an exciting thing to take a look at in terms of where we're currently at and really where I see this thing going based on what we're seeing so far on Bitcoin. This zone that we had on the daily time frame marked out for a number of months, we have finally traded down into. Okay, we had this daily time frame fair value gap. There's also still this alternative point of interest, also still absolutely on the table. But it's undeniable that we are currently getting a pretty nice bounce, from basically even like the 50% of this fair value gap. We've already bounced around 3,000 pips from that zone. So I know some people had buy limits in this area. Shout out to those of you that had some buying opportunities that you ended up taking and executing on Bitcoin from this zone that we've been talking about for a while. But really, the scenario that I see playing out on Bitcoin is there's one of two things. Either we get the bounce from here, V-shaped recovery, and we're ready to go for 120 to 140K Bitcoin, or right on the flip side, we do get I'm using the wrong lid, guys. You guys are gonna laugh at this. I just transferred like a bottled water into this. I took like the bottled water lid and tried to put it on here. It's funny. Still waking up over here. But the alternative scenario that I'm currently liking and favoring is, hey, maybe instead of we just, bounce from here. Maybe price does, maybe we get a little bit of a retracement, but price does actually continue to this lower point of interest to then go for that 120 to 140K price. Now, this is low key this has been inevitable, I think, for a really long time. If we take a look at when we first got into that kind of 100K price point on Bitcoin, we were literally consolidating for about 3 months before this thing finally decided to trade lower and capture anybody who's been kind of respectfully late to the party, buying at all-time highs over the past 3 months. And think about it from this perspective. The institutions are always doing what they can to take out what we call liquidity. We talk about it on these sessions all the time. Literally anybody over the past 3 months that was buying at practically all-time high prices, sure, there might have been opportunities like maybe they bought some here and price went up. That's cool. But the reality is most people aren't going to be, paying themselves or selling their crypto with a 17%, 20% gain because they're so used to or accustomed to the idea of like Bitcoin and all these other cryptos seeing massive gains. Right. So what we're now seeing is the same people that were buying at all-time highs are now down, you know, 15%, 20%. It's kind of an interesting psychology. Like you're up that much, you won't pay yourself. But if you're down that much, you start to kind of shake in your boots a little bit and reconsider, maybe the bull run's over. Maybe I should be selling right now. And the institutions really have a strong grip on retail traders here. And so this sellout, like I said, I would say that this is something that's been needed and it's taken a long time for it to happen. But now that we're actually seeing it, it's exciting. This is a time to be buying crypto. This is a time to be dollar cost averaging. And again, doesn't mean that the sell-off's over. Maybe we trade lower, but let's take a look at what happened even just since Monday. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, we saw major areas of liquidity captured all throughout this zone of basically consolidation at a high point in price or distribution over the past 3 months. And so, we've traded down into this, fair value gap on the daily. If we look at the weekly time frame perspective, again, it's always good to be considering the higher time frames first and areas in the higher time frames that are relevant, and then kind of go to those lower time frames to look for maybe 4 hour, 1 hour entries to then hold for those longer term kind of higher time frame swing trades. But here, obviously, you have that weekly fair value gap, which is refined on the daily to this. And, there's still technically, another one right here we could trade lower down into maybe the 50% of the fib based on what we're seeing from this swing low to this swing high. It's still absolutely possible. But I mean, even just based on what we're currently seeing, this could just wick up and this is the low of the week. This is the retracement we needed before price, continues for that move, like I said, to 120 to 140K Bitcoin. But I'm not going to be opposed to buy Bitcoin at like 72K when everybody's shaking in their boots and not buying it up. But the institutions are scooping as much as that, scooping up as much as they can. And, for those of us that are maybe familiar with quote break and retest, this is kind of like a retest of previous all-time high and prior to us breaking out to create this rally. So it's only reasonable, I think, that we're getting this retracement. And hey, maybe we do get down to 70K. There's relevant points of interest for us to trade back down into. And so now it's just about a matter of being patient and starting to really scale in to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as we're at a discount, realistically. Because this is literally we're at a discount that we haven't seen over the past 90 days. That's the way I'm looking at it on Bitcoin. Some people are shaking their boots, selling their Bitcoin. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, this is perfect. And I'm buying up more Bitcoin. It's like, when was the last time we saw 80K Bitcoin? Literally back in November last year. When was the last time we saw 70K, Bitcoin? Beginning of November last year. It was like the first time we broke, into price discovery and hit 72K. So it's like first time in 4 months, we're breaking lower for the first time in 3 months. And now it's really just a matter of where are we going to get the reaction from. But regardless, this is a good time to be scaling into Bitcoin. And of course, the same thing can be said for a lot of these other cryptos. Solana, same thing. I mean, this thing is down from its previous all-time high already 50%. That's a discount. And we still got liquidity that could be taken out here below 100, believe it or not. I think that's going to really scare a lot of people out of Solana. But I've been personally when I was in 2022, 2023, I was accumulating Solana all throughout this area, and we're seeing this move higher. I paid myself quite a bit on this move higher. Retraced, obviously, we went higher against this new all-time high, and so I've already paid myself a fair amount on Solana. If you've been buying Solana over the past, let's say, 6 months to a year, at some point in the past 6 months to a year, off and on, and this move is scaring you, I wouldn't worry. All right. I'm still very confident we're going to see a proper new all-time high above this. I could be totally wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. We'll see. I'm okay being wrong if that's the case. But I would say that I'm fairly confident this is, liquidity capture, sell off, shaking out a lot of people just for price to continue higher. Maybe we see like $350, $400 Solana going into the end of this bull run, like the end of 2025. Okay, Ethereum, same thing, same conversation, right? We're getting a lot of liquidity captured. I mean, look at these two lows, relatively equal. That I think for anybody that's trading according to technical analysis, that getting swept is pretty huge. You got this low over here as well. It's like anybody that's quote unquote buying off the support and the retest of a quote unquote resistance to the left, I wouldn't be surprised if they get wiped and then price flies over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, getting that liquidity capture, you know. So let's see what happens. I think there's definitely lots of opportunity in the crypto space right now. XRP, same conversation, guy. I do think XRP, though, something that's noteworthy is the fact that we are seeing a little bit more strength on XRP than we are a lot of other cryptos. Even Bitcoin, for example, we have taken out these previous lows versus XRP. We're actually, yeah, we saw a massive liquidity capture here back in the beginning of February. But we haven't taken that low out again. We haven't taken these lows out again. And we're actually so far creating more or less a higher low here in comparison to those previous lows. So that doesn't mean we can't take it out, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we get this. I think that's going to scare a lot of people out of XRP to, seeing $1.50, $1.60 price point. But all of that to say, last chart actually we'll look at is the total cryptocurrency market cap chart. Totally reasonable. We're getting this retracement. Okay, we had just before new all-time high, we created this temporary top, got a retracement, which interestingly enough, if we take a look at the timeline from this high to kind of where we broke out to the next move, that was like 238 days. It's quite a while. But from high to low, it's about 147 days. If we take a look at the time frame from kind of this whole retracement so far, we're at that kind of 84-day time frame. And I wouldn't be surprised if, we get over the next 2 months, 3 months, the very similar, I guess you could say, almost like duplication of this, where it's like we get the retracement, it finishes, and then we get that next aggressive, impulsive, and parabolic move higher. And this is all the total market cap chart. This is all cryptocurrencies. So, and again, very similar points of interest as to, Bitcoin. Yeah, right. This is a weekly time frame, fair value gap. Obviously, same things present on the daily. Okay, this is something you could refine a little bit further on the daily time frame. So, very exciting time for crypto. That's the reason I wanted to start with that. Jumping over to currencies. Tuesday, we talked about a couple different things on the dollar index. First thing that we talked about is that, hey, if you're new and wanting to better understand where you can start your analysis for currency pairs, DXY is a great starting point. And the reason for that is it's the dollar index. It's all US dollar pairs being taken into consideration against other major currencies. And if we see DXY being bullish, typically that will mean one of two things with these currency pairs, Euro USD, USD CAD, that kind of thing. And so this is kind of if you guys haven't seen this before, maybe write this down, take a screenshot, but this is a good framework for using DXY and how to apply this analysis we do on the dollar index to other currency pairs like Euro USD, GBP USD, AUD USD, all right, USD CAD, USD JPY, USD CHF, so on and so forth. I've so so far with the DXY, we've traded into this daily time frame point of interest, which we had also marked up for about 2 months. Coming up on 3 months here. It's crazy. The month of February is almost over. Like we're literally last days tomorrow. Wow, right? But so far we're respecting this. Uh, are we gonna, get a bounce with conviction from this zone? It's possible. I think I'm liking price action so far on the smaller time frame to suggest that that could be possible. But the one thing that I will point out that is kind of, you can't not see it is the relatively equal lows that are forming liquidity in this area. I would not be surprised if we get a jab lower to then go higher. I mean, we could just trade higher from here as well. Okay. And we also have very similarly, like there's highs, swing highs that have been established in this area too. We rejected from this fair value gap initially, traded lower. This one, obviously, we rejected from the daily time frame, which I'm going to go ahead and actually, you know what? Keep it on that. Keep it on there. Let's do this. Old fair value gap. All right, there we go. Oh, it's just not as much noise that we're looking at on screen here, but that's kind of the anticipation. I do see us maybe getting a jab like this. Okay, a spring. This is what we call a spring in a Wyckoff accumulation schematic. I gotta actually do a Wyckoff training very soon. I'll probably do something once I'm on the platform with Jifu. I think that's probably what I'm gonna look to do. But Wyckoff's a great approach and a great understanding, a great way of looking at consolidation, areas of consolidation at a high point in price, which is called distribution, or a low point in price, which is called accumulation. So this is what I would be looking for on DXY. If we're taking a look at the 1 hour time frame, however, what I would be looking for maybe today. And we'll see as the session progresses, but maybe we return to this little gap in the market to then trade higher. I think there's relatively equal lows here that maybe buyers have, stop losses below. Getting a little jab beneath those lows to then trade higher and break these highs could be cool, could be interesting, something to look out for. We also have this long wick here. This was a sell to buy kind of motion that took place yesterday's New York session. So maybe we trade down into that for mitigation instead of getting a sweep of these lows. And I think if we were to get a sweep of these lows, it would take a couple days, maybe next week or something. But equally as possible, we get a little retracement here to go higher and these highs get taken out, or we get a bit of a deeper retracement right into that maybe order block to go higher. So if that's the anticipation on DXY, let's apply that to something like Euro USD, right? Retracement on DXY to go higher in an instance with Euro USD would be an instant a retracement higher to go lower. Okay, because Euro USD is inversely correlated, does the opposite of what DXY tends to do. So I think this was a point of interest from Tuesday's session. Didn't end up taking any position from here. And so far, I'm just going to delete this so it's not in the way. We did from Sunday session, we've been respecting this area where we gapped. I would love to see all these lows get taken out this week. So if we get a little retracement and selling opportunity somewhere in this area, this is like a higher time frame order block, and we'll actually look for an entry opportunity, I think, this morning for sells. If the opportunity is there and it makes sense, I wouldn't be opposed to taking sells on Euro. But I do like sells for Euro. Okay. And again, very similar to DXY, there's this kind of order block that last up candle prior to the down move that we could potentially look to take sells from. I'm hoping GBP USD has an even better opportunity for sells because this isn't the sexiest. You know what I mean? It doesn't look the greatest. Like it could definitely look cleaner, but this is maybe something that I would be keeping an eye on. We had, and why this order block? Why is this so relevant? Well, we had relatively equal highs. They got swept in one swift buy to sell motion. All right. I mean, we had this was on Wednesday morning once again. Swift buy to sell. We've traded to create these, once again, relatively equal lows. So us being in a state of retracement to go lower kind of just makes sense. Maybe I'm entirely wrong. Maybe we go higher from here. Possible. But usually, just in my experience trading, usually the high of the week or the low of the week will be created on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. So let's see what develops today. One thing that I'll pull up quickly is the Forex Factory news calendar. So we do have some relevant news on US dollar in literally 30 seconds. So let's see what kind of volatility we get with that. Right. And something interesting is that on the way up to this potential point of interest for sells, there's liquidity to be captured. Right. We got these swing highs that we're going to be taking out on the way there, if and as to when we see that. So it's kind of like, it's nice because this would be what I would be looking at as our current trading range from high to low. All this liquidity, first lows or first highs already getting taken out with news. Second high, third high, us capturing those highs to then trade into like this fair value gap, this order block. For sells, we're seeing a lot of liquidity captured to then trade into a point of interest, and sells just it's even that much more of a confirmation because we're capturing liquidity on the way there. And then of course we got lows that we can certainly target. Like I was mentioning, I think the most obvious lows would be like these ones, all kind of relatively equal, same kind of area. And so let's see. It looks like with news, we got a wick higher, capturing some liquidity. It looks like we're starting to sell off slightly. I want to see, and I'm going to probably set an alert just in the event that we get a move above the next high here that we have yet to capture. It is possible. Maybe this is like a sweep and this is the jab that we needed on liquidity to then sell off. But I would be anticipating price to trade a little bit higher first before getting that keen selling opportunity. Really quick, I just want to take a glance at Goldilocks. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like this on gold for sells. If we get it, we could just melt from here. It's possible. We just traded into a nice fair value gap, rejected. That was around 820. Looks like we're already starting to sell off with this influx of volume with news. But if we get a bit of a higher retracement into this like fair value gap, for example, sells I think would make sense. We just created relatively equal lows again. And this, we talked about this. Gold is looking like it's starting to slow down and condense and distribute or consolidate at a high point in price. It's called distribution because the smart money, the institutional buyers are distributing, they're selling some of their orders at basically all-time high prices. Okay, so consolidation at a high point as we're seeing, price start to break lower after consolidating, that's called distribution. Because they're distributing, they're selling, their orders that they've been buying all throughout this, process of us seeing very, very bullish price action on gold, which has been literally since basically the end of 2023. You know, Actually, sorry, the beginning of 2023, really just bullish all throughout. And so, I would be anticipating gold to go lower based on what we're seeing here. There was nice selling opportunity a couple times this week. We did have a buying opportunity that we were looking at on Tuesday that ran for like 90 pips before being invalidated from this area. After that sell-off, there was a retracement, very nice fair value gap fill, traded back into an order block, and we've rejected from it so far, trading lower. And so now any sort of, like I said, retracement to the fair value gap would be of interest for sells. And I mean, I'll be honest, based on what we're seeing, this to me is just creating liquidity that I could see swept to then be the buy to sell motion that institutions need to kind of drive the market lower here on gold. What is your timeline for being onboarded with GFU? There is no timeline officially. I would say over the next month for sure. For sure. But for now, like nothing changes. Still going to be calling out trades, still going to be doing these sessions. Nothing really changes there. But the timeline for me actually being on the platform with all my education and content on the platform, it's we're in the works of it. We're in the works of it. It's just a matter of getting all of this transition, the whole organization transitioned over. They're rolling out a brand new portal for education very, very soon, which is fantastic. And that's being pressure tested right now so that there's no issues whatsoever. And so, yeah, just making sure that it's right. Yeah, exactly. Getting it right and not rushing things for sure. And I think a part that's really, really going to be beneficial too is that my institutional trading bootcamp videos are accessible right now. And I have like a whole plethora of recordings that people can still have access to prior to me being on the GFU platform. And the way you can access those is going to be through the Revolt website. Institutional Trading Dictionary is still accessible as well. Absolutely. I just have to change the EA branding because it's my document, right? I just branded it EA. But yeah, Institutional Trading Dictionary, absolutely. It's still very much accessible. And I'll pull it up here actually real quick. Still accessible. Still accessible for sure. I'll have to figure out how to like go in and change the watermark and the branding a little bit, but yeah, so still accessible for sure for you guys. But yeah, that was let's see what the actual release was for news here. So it looks like quite a bit more on unemployment claims than what was anticipated this morning. GDP pretty much the same as anticipated. And so if we're taking a look at, price again, we're getting this initial reaction. This to me, it's screaming, people are selling and we need to see these highs taken out to stop out sellers to then dump. That's what I'm looking at when I see this and what I'm seeing as I'm taking a look at this. And then again, point of interest we haven't tapped back into yet. Sells, I think, really do make sense from this zone. This is a 4-hour fair value gap, which we can refine on the 1 hour. And even if we're taking sells from like the 50%, stop above the high of the candle before the fair value gap or something. And I would be wanting to see price develop in this area. Like I wouldn't just take sells immediately unless I was going to have my stop like above this high. It's like more of a safe area to put a stop loss. I would want to see price develop in this zone. And then after kind of getting the evidence, instead of just selling when we're in the zone, like getting the evidence we're going to sell off from here, taking the sell maybe on the way down, stop above that high, so to speak, after a smaller time frame market structure shift. That's what I would want to see, is that smaller time frame distribution in the zone, for sells. And like I said, hey, we could just melt from here and take these lows, but that's what I want to target as liquidity. So us getting sells on the way down for that, getting a pullback to take sells to then target this liquidity is more ideal. That's what I would be looking for. And obviously looking to catch like a 1 to 3 minimum risk to reward. So let's see what happens. We've kind of swept these lows on gold. Maybe we get bought up from here. We did trade into this order block from London session that we're reacting from so far, So with news comes out, we sweep these lows. It's actually looking like we are gonna, get this to trade higher. But maybe you look for buys for yourself on the way up for potential sells. Maybe you hedge the market, so to speak, taking both buy up to the sell down. You could look to do that. For me personally, I'm just going to wait for the sell, and we'll see how price develops. Jumping back to euro, does look like we're on our way lower here from news. But again, I would want to, I'd want to see a bit more of a liquidity capture. We've seen a nice liquidity capture though with the 15-minute high being taken. Obviously, there's more liquidity we could capture here, and it's not at a 50%. So for me, sells, it's just not favorable. You want to be selling at a premium, which is above the 50%. GU, this was a buying opportunity we looked at on Tuesday. I actually should have set alerts on this, but this actually did trade back into the fair value gap we marked up and the order block that we marked up. It didn't quite trade to where I looked at in terms of the entry area, but nonetheless, still reacted nicely from the zone as anticipated, took out the high that we were looking at as liquidity. And now, GU is still fairly strong, but I would say, again, starting to condense, looking like it's ready for, a bit of a pullback. Other points of interest for us to trade down and back to that we have yet to see price return to. So based on what we're seeing, again, with news, spike higher, didn't capture any sort of liquidity, but we're starting to sell off here. It is looking like we're going to see a sell-off here for Euro USD, GBP USD, potentially gold, which means USD CAD's probably trading higher, right? We talked about it on Tuesday as well, the potential for us to trade higher into these zones. I have an alert set on this, so we'll keep an eye on that. For GU, my main interest would be if we take out, this high here for potential sells. And then again, if price action's looking favorable, like we are breaking lower here, this is favorable. We have, fair value gap that's currently being created. Obviously, we have to see how this 5-minute candle closes to see if there is still a fair value gap here. But even like getting a sell-off, even taking this low on a pullback, taking sells would be cool. You could look to do that. I think for me, it's just, I'd maybe want to wait to see if we can get liquidity captured, more properly. But euro is actually more favorable for sells because it's weaker. But dang, yeah, since news, we've been melting. We've been melting. Something with news trading, and you guys can back test this, practice this in your own time with news events. You'll see like a false spike one direction and then a complete reversal, which is literally what we saw. We saw a false spike higher with news to melt. It happens a lot, actually. This thing is pushing. This thing is pushing. Yeah, look at this. Wow. Wow. Took the lows and just flying. So, I mean, based on what we're seeing here, we're about to take out this high on DXY. Any sort of a pullback from what we've seen, maybe, makes sense for buys just the same way any sort of a pullback for this move makes sense for sells to, again, target liquidity. I would love to see some of your guys' charts, in the chat. We'd love to see some of your guys' charts. Said everyone went off around midnight. Was not a good time. Yeah. It happens, it happens for sure. For sure. Those markets trading into points of interest that are marked out, and it's like, dang, it's just I was sleeping, or I didn't have a limit on it, or whatever the case is. It happens, right? You can't catch them all. But let's see. Golds. I want to be patient with this one. I think we got more liquidity to capture on golds. Just took out lows. That was like kind of with news. We could just melt from here, but I mean, Don's perfect world, we get this for sells. But yeah, you guys drop some of your market outlooks, like areas you're looking for, zones you're looking for. We'll also take a look at some of the see if I can refresh the site here for GFU and see what kind of opportunities are on the scanner. I know some of you guys have been trying out the scanners with GFU. what's that gold one that y'all have been like raving about? Remind me of that gold one. It's like Gold Rush or something. Golden Era. Yeah, I bet we'll take a look at it. It's been smacking. We've had people, over here at the BNB that have been absolutely crushing it with Golden Era. So we'll take a look at that um, and see what we got. See what we got. See what we got. See what we got. So they literally have a buy on gold right now. It looks like, and it looks like it might have just swept liquidity. I'm not sure exactly when this printed, but I think the bias that they have is, or I say they have, it has as a scanner, is relevant, is accurate. But this thing has been smacking. Um, I've seen a lot of people, do some damage with this thing, do some damage with Golden Arrow. So there's that. Of course, we've got our smart scanner, right? Smart money scanner. And if we take a look at golds and points of interest, 5 minute, there's some zones that are marked up here. You got 15-minute, same kind of thing. It's kind of highlighting that, hey, we might have just created an order block, which is valid. Notice how it says ranging. Okay, we want to see this change to really take a trade with confidence, with more confidence. And notice these points of interest that we also were looking at above these highs. That's also kind of around that red, moving average. This kind of move higher into these zones for sells, very favorable in my opinion, based on what we're seeing. Any update on accessing the Smart Money Bootcamp on Revolt? I mean, I do have them all like unlisted on YouTube for now. So James, if you want to DM me on Telegram, I can send it to you for the time being until I have them fully finished and uploaded to Revolt website. Wow. So USD CAD's capturing some pretty significant liquidity here. We just saw pretty much a wick for 40 pips over the past 5 minutes. That's actually a pretty major move on USD CAD. Euro, we're starting to take these lows. In fact, we took them all out. All right, major liquidity capture here. Sheesh. Gold still ranging. DXY is taking those highs. Yeah, it looks like we won't be getting a spring. So this accumulation, consolidation at a low point, either these are the lows that are set in, which means we're bouncing from the daily time frame order block, and this is just going to trade higher from here, or this jab that we're getting to then sells off pretty aggressively, and this would be a failed accumulation turned into a redistribution to go lower. Again, just some Wyckoff jargon, but the point is, we could see either side pan out, but obviously very aggressive move on the DXY. Dang, we should have been ready to pull trigger at the time of news. We should have just played the potential reversal. Yeah, this thing is moving. Wow. Goldilocks doing interesting. So Bitcoin's chilling, not really doing much. But these currency pairs are moving this morning. They are moving. So something to consider here. Obviously, this is a point of interest that we traded in the fair value gap previously. Still an order block that we haven't really we didn't get to like where I had for potential entry on Tuesday. Um, we could be seeing what we're seeing right now as a sell to buy, maybe potentially with the sell side liquidity here before the main part of the order block, which is that last down candle. I mean, grand scheme of things, like we are presently bullish on GU, so maybe we're getting this sell off as just a sweep of all this liquidity to go higher ultimately. And on DXY, if we're taking a look at this on like a higher time frame perspective, perhaps it's just trading back into the order block here on the daily to go lower, maybe, you know, or we just bounce from here. I'm totally cool with that as well. But we're seeing these things move quite a bit. This was the point of interest we had from Tuesday's session on Euro USD as well. So again, we want to see what does smaller time frame price develop in this zone. Do we get accumulation? Do we get signs of price wanting to bounce from here? You could just look to buy off of it for sure. But cause and effect is really key. We've been consolidating at a high point here for a while. This could be the cause of an effect that means we go lower. Not to say we can't bounce from here, but just something to be wary of. We would want to wait for kind of additional confirmation. Personally, at least, I would be wanting to wait for additional confirmation. Like I said, usually the high or the low of the week is established on a Wednesday or Thursday. So either this is the high of the week and we continue selling off going into the end of the week, or maybe this is a low of the week. Whatever this low is that's established, maybe it's in this point of interest. And we actually get, a bit of a bounce going into tomorrow. All right. Maybe the high is in, maybe the low will be in. Obviously, we're just going to have to wait and see. And then next week, I'm really looking forward to, actually, we already have it pulled up here. Of course, we have that NFP that we love to trade together. So we will be trading that together for sure. Right. So I'm looking forward to that. Ooh, my computer is hot. Just sitting here in the sun. It's like the fan's going. Might have to move into the shade here. We will probably wrap up the session relatively soon, anyways, but we're just going to transition. Okay. There we go. Now it's out of the sun, so it should be cooling down a little bit. Okay. Got to take good care of your laptop, especially your new laptop. Of course, gotta take care of my buddy. This is my buddy. It's my new buddy. We're gonna do a lot together, me and this computer. For sure. We're gonna make a lot of money together. Okay. Wow, we are pushing. We're pushing. Not even a pullback here. So usually, we have this saying that we like to kind of abide by or consider in smart money. And it's, what is fast doesn't last, what is slow will grow. So obviously this is a very fast move, very fast move. So a lot of, I would say, imbalance is being created in the market right now. You have obviously what's going to be look like, or what's looking like it's going to be a fair value gap here. You got fair value gap back up in here before we took out the lows. So there's lots of inefficiencies, imbalances in the market that we could very well, need to return to for balancing out to take place. And interestingly, gold's right. We're seeing these currency pairs break out. Gold's just still kind of chilling. Again, what we're seeing on gold, it leads me to believe we're going to see a sweep of these highs, and then I would want to see distribution for potential sells. But USD CAD in the meantime, we did have an alert go off for this, trading inside the 4-hour fair value gap and order block. This is pretty easy liquidity. Like a lot of sellers might have stop losses above this high, so I would not be surprised whatsoever if we take that high out. In fact, maybe even selling instead of, from where we are with a stop loss above the high, selling like from the high where there's that last point of liquidity with some sort of a stop loss based on a smaller time frame. I don't know, maybe like, the candle that creates the fair value gap here. Maybe we, put a stop loss like above that or something. Could be interesting, But USD CAD, I've been talking about it. It's kind of ugly, low key right now. No disrespect to my buddy USD CAD, but it's just been so volatile with everything going on that it's been not the sexiest price action, not the most beautiful price action. But we are in points of interest, so that's relevant, of course. And again, what is fast doesn't last, what is slow will grow. We moved from basically news at 8:30 to where we're currently trading about 72 pips in like 25 minutes. So the euro's in this point of interest. Again, I want to see accumulation on the smaller time frames. So, signs of quote support, if you will, signs of mitigation, signs of us, reacting from the point of interest here progressively. Because again, we just, this is like one massive liquidity capture on euro, right? Massive liquidity capture on euro. Obviously, we had selling points of interest here as well, but I mean, at the same time, like we have been bullish. This to me is on the higher time frame at least. This could very well be like the sell-off we're seeing. Maybe we sweep this low, but we're ultimately just testing the kind of middle of this whole accumulation again. And there's also this, order block, if you will, that maybe we trade back into to then get a bounce from to go higher, perhaps on the daily time frame perspective. So, and this kind of a sell-off, it's like, okay, right, we're moving. You know what I mean? It's kind of seeing price fly on DXY. It's moving with speed, but what is fast doesn't last, what is slow will grow. Again, that saying is something to really back to us to understand. And I think, with what we're seeing, to see accumulation for opportunistic buys, potential opportunistic buys would be cool to see. To me, it's just, we got these lows that could get taken out here pretty soon. There's this low that could even be taken out. I would be interested. You know what I'd be interested in? If we take out, a couple of these lows, like this low and this low, trading back into this point of interest, I would take a buy. And I would be confident and, ready to take a buy. I wouldn't even need to see accumulation take place. Now, obviously, that we're still a ways away from that, like 50 pips. So maybe we do just accumulate in here and bounce. Excuse me. But I'd say this is the more favorable, the more favorable for buys. And again, just current trading range from like a daily perspective, this low to the high. If we were to fib this out, we want to buy at a discount, ideally, and a discount's below the 50%, right? Higher time frame perspective, this is at a discount. And there's the internal liquidity that we're capturing on the way down into it. So, but again, we could bounce from here. We just want to wait to see accumulation and a sign of like a market structure shift on a smaller time frame if we were to. But to me, we got more liquidity to capture here. Could you take buys from this? For sure. For sure. I think the biggest reason why I wouldn't right now is just because of the fact that this is very easy to take out liquidity. Um, you know, Still decent risk reward. Like if you wanted to, you definitely could. But I think I would, and especially based on how the hourly candle just closed, I would wait. I would wait. See if we take this out. Maybe we trade back, below these lows, back into this point of interest. That would be more favorable for me. But let's see. Is gold going to make the decision to just break higher or what? We're just chopping around, bored. But guys, we're at the top of the hour. I would say, in closing, just because again, I gotta practice keeping these streams short. Standard is 45 to kind of 50 minutes. And I would say keep an eye out for opportunities. We've seen some volatility. We've already gone over a few different things to consider, right? Price trading higher, taking out some highs to go lower on gold. This is very favorable. I'll drop an actual quote signal, if you will, if I end up seeing this and it's favorable enough for me to take it. Euro, we're in a point of interest. We could be bouncing from here. It's possible. Okay. I would just be wary of the fact that this is fairly easy areas of liquidity to also be captured, but we have already taken out 4 lows that are very relevant. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the hourly time frame, not including some of the swing lows in here. So we've already seen a huge bamboozle. All right. A lot of buyers are already wiped out. Now it's just a matter of, do we see the last little bit of buyers taken out too, or do we just bounce around? Right. That's why we're waiting for signs of accumulation, signs of this zone wanting to bounce, signs of us wanting to bounce from this area. GU, we technically came back into the order block where I did have, the ideal kind of area we were looking for from Tuesday. Same thing though. I would be wanting to see accumulation, wanting to see price kind of develop favorably. You could look for buys on this. You could, right? You use your own discernment, make the decision yourself. If you're like, you know what, this point of interest that we're currently trading inside of 1 to 2 risk reward, like I'm good to go with that, do it. Take it. Right. Don't feel like you have to wait for me to say, take it to take the trade, right? If the point of interest is there and you like it, take the position, right? But anything that I formally take, I will let you guys know for sure. But we're gonna wrap the session up, top of the hour. I'm interested seeing a question from Jeremy. Did you ever find out what the X's and pluses were on the smart scanner? So I believe, I don't quote me on this, I need to confirm this, but I believe it's just liquidity captures. I think, right? Because it's like here we have this swing low that gets captured, Here we have this swing high that gets captured. Maybe. But again, it's still something I need to better understand with these kind of like, and maybe there's somebody that educates on the platform using the scanner and teaches about this stuff. We got to do some exploration and take a look and see for ourselves. I still have to do that myself. Missed the first 10 minutes of the session. Can you share your thoughts on Bitcoin again? Yeah, I'll go over it real quick. One of two scenarios: either we bounce from here on the daily, or we see price sell off to like 72. I think it's pretty much what we were talking about yesterday as well, Brock. But I would say based on what we're currently seeing, it does look like, we're getting a nice reaction from the first zone at around 83K. But I still, I feel like we still need to see price develop a little bit more. And we also would want to see kind of a clear point of interest created where it's like an order block followed by a fair value gap for us to take buys confidently from. Um, because this was like an example, I guess where one took place yesterday. Uh, but I still feel like we can be patient with this. I would dollar cost average right now. Like I would buy some extra Bitcoin right now and cryptos because of the sell off, though. That's what I would say. Took a buy there. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, guys, get used to the briefer sessions. I know that's going to be good for some of you guys because you're like, I can't even stay on for the 2 hours anyways. I know for some of you guys it might be like, dang it, I'm used to vibing out for the full sessions, full 2 hours, but I gotta meet the new standard, right? Director of Education said, hey, listen, sessions need to be 45 minutes to an hour max. So that's what we're going to be rocking with and starting to go through the motions with on these sessions until we're on the actual GFU Live platform to get in the routine. But with that being said, appreciate you guys, your time. Look out for those opportunities and looking forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. We'll be doing Market Outlook on Sunday night. Most likely, if anything changes, I'll let you guys know. I know we have some stuff planned here with the team in Miami, but that's the plan as of right now, is for Market Outlook to be, happening. If anything changes, I'll update you guys. But guys, in the meantime, go ahead if you haven't already transitioned to GFU. Definitely reach out to your personal sponsor who you've been working with. Get the account set up, start messing around with the new scanner, start having some fun, start using, Golden Era, trying to get a feel for that, right? And an understanding of that, because this thing's been smacking recently. And really, I think it's important to be plugged in, right? This is where everybody is going to be able to be plugged in with a new and improved platform. But even just as is, it's still very, very solid. Okay, you got the academies. All right. Obviously, you have the live sessions as well. From the home screen, you can tap in with the educators. All right, and start learning, start plugging in, start seeing who you resonate with. There's some great educators on here. You know what I mean? So yeah, timeline for the new version of GFU Live is soon. So anyways, with that being said, any sort of trades, any sort of opportunities, we'll continue the conversation in the trade room, in the Revolt group chat, right? Of course. I'm still gonna be on the charts for the next, probably hour and a half off and on. I got my alerts set and stuff. And so cheers, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Let's have a great day and looking forward to seeing you guys very soon. See you guys. Take care.